Hello, hello, hello. Thank you all so much for joining me. I am really happy to have you again for a brand new segment, a new episode. As Mental Health Day passed a couple days ago, I never got a chance to post this particular segment, so I decided to make sure I dedicated this particular episode or segment, as they call it, on this particular platform to Mental Health Day in particularly. And it's great that we recognize it in the aspect that it is. We just need to make sure that we are putting together better practices of taking care of ourselves. And so I was hoping to share a little bit of everything I've come to experience and just give and shed light to. So, as we kick off this first episode with a particular topic of in this particular episode, I wanted to make sure that we cover some grounds on something that's very prevalent in American society, and I'm pretty sure it could be said for other countries and maybe even other cultures, but I know for sure here in America it is a very big stigma. We code ourselves and other people's thoughts and perceptions of us, and when we do these things, we lose more of ourselves than what we should. And it leaves us in a disimbalanced state and malfunction awareness of where we are in the world and who we are, and just how we function in the world in itself, and your placement as a person, as an individual. You are your own person, your own self, and your first responsibility is to be aware of yourself. The more you're aware of yourself, the more you can be beneficial to yourself and others, and that leads to a better culmination of social interaction, and even more so society in itself. And when we give up our power to other people and their perception of us, we end up losing the ability to affect change in a way that we should be able to. And as it's said within many different articles, it is like over 1 point some odd decimal points of some sort of a chance of you actually becoming or being anyone else other than yourself. And to me, that says that is very, very significant, in that you are 1 in a billion, 1 in a zillion, 1 in a trillion, whatever it may be. And if that is true, then there has to be a specific reason for your being here. There is a more important value of you being the individual that you are, rather than culminating to someone else's perception of you and maintaining that view to gratify someone else and to make sure you don't stand out. That's hurting yourself more than anything else, and it's hurting everything else that's around you even more, because you're drowning yourself in someone else's perception, which means that you're no longer present. You've allowed someone else's existence and way of life to overwhelm yours and overcome you, so that you won't have to play a role in everything else that's going on. And that to me is the deadliest, or one of the worst things we could do to ourselves and to the world in itself. So as we continue going forward, it's going to be very prevalent and important to uncover all those hidden gems inside of you. That light, you are a light that is precious and wonderful in every kind of way, in every perception, in every perspective of being an individual. We all praise being real, being 100, and that is unique in itself, a very cute phrase and wonderful and everything else, but not even just a but. However, you have to also make sure that it's not to be a part of the trend or to be someone else's I can't even find the word for that. But you have to be more than a fad. You're not meant to be a trend. And if you do become a trend, be a trend of your own individual self. Be a trend of your own movement, your own creation. You should be the movement of your own perception. And it's not to say that we can't accept the value in view of someone helping you, but in all essence, your individuality is your most key and prominent and most powerful piece you have. So don't just be keeping it 100 if you're not really keeping it 100. You have to be who you are, and that's just true to yourself. And not everyone's going to like that. Not everyone's going to be appreciative of it. Not everyone's going to have good things to say about it, or even if they don't or do, it's not really about accolades. It's about your freedom. Do you understand the importance of breathing? The ability to let go and live and just actually be free? The value in that? The power that's in that? The presence of God that is in that? You are the expression of the divine creator in itself, in you, through you, and everything else. And your individuality, your intrinsic self is not only a piece of the creator, but it is very divine in itself, that you are here to be who you are and no one else. And that's the most important thing you're here to do. And the most valuable thing you have is your individuality. The more you grow, the more beautiful you blossom. I mean, we look at roses and think, wow, what beautiful plant or flower that is, and think not only that it's just beautiful, but extraordinary, and forget how extraordinary it must be for something like that to exist amongst other plants. And there are millions, if not hundreds or thousands of those particular plants that are said to be beautiful, and yet we don't even notice how individualized these plants may be. And in that same essence, everything else in creation is very individualized, and yet it works together. If you're afraid of standing out, you're afraid of being a part of the world. You're not being of your own self the integral part in which you're supposed to play, as everything else in the world is individualized by its own intrinsic and intricate design. It is made so that it correlates with everything else, so that everything can be a part of the bigger picture. And if you're here, what else are you here to do if not to be a part of the picture? If you're here, you have a purpose, you have a design that you are meant to play in your particular roles. Do you understand the intricacy of the tapestry that's here, that's a part of everything? It's a grand design, a magnificent and extraordinary design. And for you to fade out is the most inconsiderate thing you could ever do. You shed your light and then dim it, and you're wondering why your life isn't where it's supposed to be. You shut yourself out. Who are you to tell the creator that you should not exist in any kind of capacity? You are an individual, and it's your divine right to be an individual. It's the divine creation that made you, that gave you life, that gave you the breath that you breathe. And in any capacity in which you're here, you're supposed to do these things as you are, as a divine being, to be here and to allow yourself to bolster yourself in the creativity that you are. You are not just another blank canvas that people can paint on. You are the canvas in which you've been designed to be. So why not create on that canvas as you see fit? It is yours to design upon. Yes, the creator is going to help you brush the pen against this particular canvas, the paintbrush against this particular canvas. You are still in control of your life. And as much as people say destiny and what's the other term? Fate. Fate is you having the ability to control the aspects in your life that you are able to control, that you do control. There's more to you than just being here. You are meant to do great things, and it's up to you to do those particular things. And not to give anyone else that power or authority to change that or take that away from you. You are the most intrinsic and impeccable being that's been made since the time of your birth. And you shadowlessly give aim to the most impeccable source of creation, the ability to be here in a way that you are. So why not shine your light from the ends of the earth to the other side of the earth? Why not give voice to your creation that you are made of and made in? Why not give thrill and enjoyment and passion and invoke the inexplicable right to be here as a being of great purpose and light? You are what you are, and that's what you are, and no one else can take that from you. Not their judgments, not their perspectives, not their thoughts. They have no right to take anything from you other than what you're willing to give them. If you're willing to give them your whole self and nothing else and everything else, then you've given them the power and authority to do so. It's up to you to choose where you're going from here to there. It's up to you to choose where you want to be and where you're going to go, and from here and on and anywhere else. It's all up to you. And if that's the choice and if that's the truth, then where are you going with your life if you don't want to go anywhere else but to be shun away from your own personal truth? You are your own destiny, your own worst fear. You are your greatest weakness. And only you can solve these particular, I don't want to say issues, but instances. Whether you're at your highest or your worst, you are your best chance or your worst chance of creating a difference in your life and changing things for the better. And we should hope that you don't want to change it for the worse. I understand that some of us are teenagers and emotions are high and life is changing and different and there are things you could not expect or not know how to deal with, but as you're growing up, you'll understand that it's just one of those days. And you'll be just fine. It's up to you to choose whether you're going to go through life the way you are or become something better, different. You understand that even if you are not the most popular person in school, not the most adorable or loved or accentuated person in school, that at some point you're going to be out of that particular position. You're going to be 10 years away from where you once were, and life will be a lot different. It's just the place where you're at now. And sometimes it's not that easy, and that's okay. You have to choose whether you're going to push yourself forward to where you want to be at and get there. And if you're going to stay stuck, you're choosing. No one else is choosing but you. And if you choose to stay where you are, then that's what you want to be and that's what you want to do, because you won't get out of that particular state that you're in. And the more you choose to stay in that place, the longer you'll be there and the worse it'll be and the worse it can get, because you'll manifest those things to be in a way that you will let them be. And for some of us like me, I just can't let that be. I can't sit there and stay in the zone of discontentment and hurt, anguish. So why not pull myself together and pull myself through to something else better? And it's not to say, oh, I just made that decision overnight. Of course, it took many tries and many tribulations to try to say I'm going to do these things and get these things done. But It's the opportunity to never give up, to always say, I'm going to persevere, I'm going to prosper, I'm going to get there no matter what happens. And you know what ends up happening? You prove to yourself that you are the person that you say you are. And you become that. And even if it takes you your whole lifetime, would it be better to have seen the dream come true rather than it not? Or would it be better to let yourself languish where you are and never to have attained anything that you wanted? I'm not willing to give up on any part of my dream, any part of what I want for my life, and neither should you. The things we strive for, the things that make us who we are, and what makes us much more stronger and better. And if we keep striving for those things, at some point, eventually we'll gain the opportunity to attain those things. And your character, your strength, your gifts, your power will prove to you that you are able and should be able to get these things, as you've proven to yourself as many times as you've had to, that you are really, really ready and able to do these things. And don't worry if you fall down and fail a couple times. That's just fine. It's a learning process. You're going to fail. You're going to fall over. You're going to get down. You're going to beat yourself up. And then you're going to wonder, am I going to get back up again? And you can. You have to choose to do so. And if you fall again, you have to choose to do so to get back up. It's just a way of life. It's just part of life, that continuously effort to keep climbing the mountain that you're climbing, because the satisfaction is at the top. When you're finally satisfied, you're like, all right, now I can come down now. I've made it to where I wanted to be at. And if it's supposed to be a permanent place you want to be at, then fine. Be there and don't come back down. Traveling backwards is not where you want to go, because there's nothing else left back there. I once had someone tell me, you choose the state of mind you want to be in. And if you choose to be there, it's like saying, I'm moving to a better place now. And you go back, you go to your new place, you change the cable over to the new place, the lights to the new place, your gas, your water bill. And yet you go back to the old place and you haven't cut off the lights, and you cut the lights on there and you're paying the bill for two places. Would you do that in a real place? If you were coming from renting apartments to living in a new home, would you keep the lights on there while someone else is staying there? Would you let someone else occupy that space and use up your energy to fulfill their particular needs? That's the same thing as having a double mind. You don't want to live in two places. And I'm not saying that it's easy to come out of those things. It really is easier said than done, but it's not impossible. Quit paying the bill that once was where you lay, and continue to pay the bill to where you're going to lay and are trying to lay. And stick with it. Don't go backwards and forth and wondering who, what, where, how. That's out of the question. When you move forward and you don't step backwards. And of course, you'll observe your area, make sure you're doing just fine and how you're doing. But never, never, ever go back. You're never the same person you were once before. Hey, you're not even the same person you were 2 seconds ago. You know why? If you go and do the research, they show you and share with you that you form new synapses in the brain within your day-to-day activities and changing of your habits of being yourself. When you form new habits, when you form new patterns, you change the synapses. In that same effort, you're changing who you are with every decision you make. When you choose to be someone else different, you choose to be the greatest version of yourself or the worst. If you choose to be mediocre and you're stuck there, you have the power and authority to change that. But it's up to you to change that. If you don't change it, what are you going to be? Mediocre, worse, or better? You are what you say you are. No matter what happens in this time of life and commitment to anything else, you are what you say you are. And until you get with that, you're going to always be what you say you are. Choose. Choose what you want to be. Choose who you are. Choose where you're going to operate. And stick with it. Don't let anyone else tell you who you are. Don't let anyone else turn you around. Don't let anyone else tell you who you can or cannot be. The past does not dictate the present or the future. It can inform you of what once may have happened, but it cannot dictate. You are the present state. That means that you dictate the future. So dictate. Say what is and say what it's going to be. Not anyone else. When you let all these other voices come into your head to determine you and tell you where to go and what to do and how to do those things, you give your power and authority to someone else. Stop giving your authority away and keep it. Stay with it. Do you know why they say the power of the phone is in the mind? Because that's where you operate from. And in truth, it's really from your spirit, which is below your heart. That's the solar plexus, that you give authority to the rest of your information to go through your body. So feel from your spirit who you are, where you are, and determine with yourself how you're going to get there and where you're going to get there. It takes work and dedication that isn't always going to be 1 second decision and it's done. You have to keep on making that same choice every single day. And if it's really rough, sometimes it's every moment. And until you've ingrained in your spirit, your heart, and your mind, and your body that you have the authority and that you've chosen to do these things, you're going to keep on tussling. But you have to believe what you say. You have to believe what you do. You have to believe in what you're going to do and what you're saying and how you're going to get there. You. Everyone else can be convinced of anything and everything else around you about anything they've seen or believed. But only the person dictating the vessel that you are in can do and steadily repeat the things that they're going to do. It's up to you. We can get into the science of the mind and all that stuff, and I'm sure I will, because that's part of what I'm willing to help with other people. But the mainstay of all this is that you are the operator of your own destiny. You create that pathway. You create the best version of your life. And no matter what happens, you can create the events that you want to have for yourself in your life in this creation. Will yourself to be. Will yourself to be as strong and capable, as powerful as you want to be. And the things you want in life, you can attain those things. It's part of you. It's part of your destiny. You can change those things if you choose to do so. Don't let anyone else change you. Don't let anyone else take anything away from you. Change for yourself and for those who may be benefiting from you. It's going to benefit them much more when it's for you and not everyone else. That means it's false change. The only way things become of a permanence is if you stick with it. Make it authentic. Make it real to you. Make it prevalent to you. When it's prevalent to you, it'll be apparent to anyone else that's around you. Pay attention to what you do, and no one else be worried about what else is going on that once might have been going on. It's up to you. You change your life for the better or the worse. Stop letting everything else dictate what you're supposed to do. Be you. Be true to yourself. It's not about just you get one life. It's just about the fact that you get to be free. And if that's the great premise of the country that America, quote unquote, is built upon, then why aren't you being free? Why aren't you setting yourself free? Writing your own rules and living by those rules. Now, I'm not saying go out here and beat the person that made you upset. I'm not saying go out here and trip the person that cut you off. I'm not saying go out here and bomb someone else's car. All that I'm saying is that if you want to live your best life, live it and not let anyone else take that away from you, because it is free. Do no harm and be good to other people. And the rest is all good. You want the life you want, and I'm sure everyone else wants the same thing. And if that's the truth, living and let live is part of the life that we live. And accomplishing your dreams is part of the life that we get to have. So it's up to you what you do with your life. And until you decide that you're going to go forward with the way you want your life to be, you'll repeat the same old patterns, the same old way of life, the same old orchestra will keep on playing, and you'll get the same old sad song. You'll keep on crying in the middle of the night. You'll keep on crying about A, B, C, and D. You'll keep on, quote unquote, dying inside because you can't get away from A through Z. It's up to you. It's you. You have authority to change your life the way you want. It's up to you. No one else can do that for you. And the more you allow yourself to keep on changing, the better you can get. And not be so afraid to change for the better. Not everyone else is going to be able to get to be you within your life. So be you. Do you. Just grow and mature and just spread your wings and fly, girl. I mean, let yourself be. And everything else will come into fruition as it's supposed to be. And that effort, I think the point has been grasped as to the importance of self and the dedication to oneself, to be true to yourself and to let yourself be and to grow. And we'll continue more segments on the way we can help ourselves with our decision and choices and the whole shebang, if you will. I'm not going to get too much into detail about where we're going with this. Evidently it's going to be in the same premise, but we're going to get more cognitive about what we are able to do as people and what we're not supposed to be doing, because clearly there are some things that are not supposed to be done, and there are other things that should be done. And so as we go forward, we'll make better decisions about ourselves, about our life, and where we're going, and life will get better for everyone. It's just up to us to make those decisions. And I'll allow fear porn and all the rest of this other stuff to dictate our life. I actually believe we inform the world we live in. So with that being said, I will leave you all for tonight because I need to get ready to go to bed and get ready for work. And in that effort, I wish you all many blessings, peace, and prosperity, light and love and growth and your truth, your I am. This is our spirituality of I am. And you are as you say you are. So be it. And with that, good night. Love you. And I'll see you on the next round. 1.